very good morning to you. It's a bit early, isn't it? But thank you for coming on. What do you think about Rishi saying these very dramatic statements?
Well, he's telling the truth. The only thing I would add is that even if it wasn't hostile states driving illegal migration, it would still be a huge factor. I mean, there have been cases, for example, with Russia trying to push migrants over into Finland. So it's really true what he's saying. But if you think about it, we're actually a very fortunate country, Britain, and there are billions of people around the world who live in impoverished countries or under tyrannical regimes. And I think that it's entirely understandable that people would want to come and live here. The difficulty, of course, is that we can't fit in billions of people, and therefore it's absolutely fundamental that we secure our borders and that we prevent people from entering illegally, or if they do enter illegally, there's a very clear message that they won't be allowed to stay, and that therefore there will be a deterrent to people making the hazardous journey to come here. You know, so that's the fundamental point. But certainly the hostile states trying to add pressure on the West by trying to encourage illegal immigration, that will make matters even more severe.
Yeah, Harry, on that note, the UK and Italy will jointly finance a plan to return migrants in Tunisia to their home countries. How much of a difference is that going to make, do you think, when it comes to small boat crossings?
I think that it is possible to have effective policies, and I mean, let's see what happens. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about Rwanda, and there's a lot of pessimism over whether that'll go through Parliament and whether it'll be upheld in the courts, and how many people would actually be sent to Rwanda, and would it be a deterrent? I actually think that all those hurdles could be successfully jumped, and then the interesting point will be if we then find that it is a deterrent, if people stop coming on the small boats because they know they won't be allowed to stay, because they know they'll be sent to Rwanda, then other countries might well then look at that, because I mean, other countries in Europe have got worse problems than we have, of course. But I mean, for obvious reasons of geography and people crossing the Mediterranean, and so I think it could be that maybe not Rwanda, maybe different arrangements, as you say, with this scheme with Tunisia. So I think the rest of Europe will be watching quite closely how our Rwanda scheme works out.
Yes, and equally, we seem to be watching the rest of Europe and how they're trying to handle the same sort of problem. It seems to me that one of the very good things about this particular conference that Rishi was speaking at in Italy underlines the fact that it's not just our problem, it is a Europe-wide problem. But the leaders of those various countries seem to be at a loss as much as Rishi is.
Yes, in a way, it's very simple. That you need to make sure that people who come here illegally aren't allowed to stay. But it's actually getting a scheme up and running is harder. Of course, in the European Union, there's that extra layer of difficulty that they don't have the national independence that we have. I mean, by the way, Giorgia Meloni is a very strong Conservative, and so she is quite sympathetic towards Brexit, and she takes a lot of inspiration from Roger Scruton and G.K. Chesterton and other sort of traditionalist conservative thinkers, and she seems to get on very well with Rishi Sunak. The personal chemistry is you see them, and it's rather flirty, isn't it, and jokey and tactile. That probably helps. So I think Italy and the UK are close allies. So that helps. But there's obviously some way towards cracking the problem.
Yeah, of course, the UK and Italy, as you say, it's just two countries forming this deal, and Rishi Sunak using the gathering of Conservative Italian leaders and right-wingers. Is there a sense that he was just preaching to the converted yesterday, and actually there's a long road to go to try and create some kind of consensus with other European countries when it comes to migration?
Yes, I think partly. I think he would be preaching to the converted in that everybody would agree that illegal immigration is a serious problem. By the way, I mean it's often presented as being right wing. I mean, it should be that nobody's in favour of illegal immigration. It should be that you might say you want to be liberal and have refugees, or that we think it's an economic benefit if we have legal immigration where the particular skills shortages. But it's astonishing to my mind that there should be any debate about illegal immigration. Of course, we need secure borders, and of course, it's unacceptable, and people shouldn't be allowed to enter and stay illegally. But anyway, it's somehow seems to be presented as a sort of right wing view to be concerned about, doesn't it? So I think that he will be preaching converted in a sense, but it brings it home to the British domestic audience, how serious the problem is, not just for us but for others. And so people might perhaps the British public might be a little bit more sympathetic to Rishi Sunak having an effort to grapple with it when he sees that other countries have similar problems.
Yes, indeed. I think it's opened our eyes to the problems facing the rest of Europe too. Harry, thank you very much indeed.